Vice President Mike Pence and Secretary of State Mike Pompeo are joining foreign officials from 60 other nations in Poland for a U.S.-led summit on the Middle East. The U.S. is hoping to increase pressure on Iran despite hesitation from several European countries. I want to bring in retired Army Lieutenant Colonel Daniel Davis, a senior fellow and military expert at Defense Priorities. Good to see you today, Lieutenant Colonel. Why don't we start with exactly how differently the United States and some countries in Europe see putting pressure on Iran?
Well, you hit it right on the head. That is really the issue at stake right here, is that the United States seems to be really putting a lot of pressure, trying to build up pressure on Iran on a number of fronts, almost to the build-up potentially of armed conflict later on. But then you have Europe on the other side that is actually doing everything in their power to maintain the JCPOA that President Trump got out of, because they view that as in their economic interest and in their security interest. And they are not very happy at all about the pressure we're trying to put on them. And that's why some of them, some of our allies didn't even show up to this event, or they sent lower-level diplomatic personnel to send a message.
Well, and I'm always curious how much gets done. I know that they like to release an agreement or an accord, or not an accord, but some sort of communique out of these things. You know, last month, the U.S. intel chiefs contradicted the president's claim that Iran is trying to make a nuclear weapon. Here's the director of national intel, Dan Coates.
While we do not believe Iran is currently undertaking activities we judge necessary to produce a nuclear device, Iranian officials have publicly threatened to push the boundaries of JCPOA restrictions if Iran does not gain the tangible financial benefits it expected from the deal.
You know, whenever I see this sort of disconnect, I always wonder if one side knows more than the other. Maybe the president knows something about this that the rest of us don't know. What is your take on Iran's capability?
Well, that's really the heart of it. What is Iran's capabilities? What do they have the ability to do and the intent to do? And the fact is that militarily speaking, Iran can at most be a nuisance to American interest in the region, because our military, both our nuclear and our conventional military, are so much more powerful than anything Iran could ever have, and they know that. And so they're not going to push any bounds that would cause us to take military action, because they know that they would only lose in that case, which means they can be deterred indefinitely because we hold all the cards in that regard.
Who helps us, Colonel Davis, to get intel on what Iran is doing? I mean, are those people in the 60 nations in Poland today? Who are our friends in regard to pushing against Iran?
Well, actually, I had an event last night where that very subject came up, and as a matter of fact, we have really good intelligence to be able to know what's going on inside of Iran, and all of our European allies, I'm sure, are being forthcoming and giving us information that they think should lead to a conclusion that we should not be putting all this pressure on Iran so that they can continue to have the peaceful relations that they have.
But as you astutely pointed out, they also have the notion of staying in this deal that we pulled out of.
Right.
So we'd have to probably check, at least with good pacificism, I would imagine, what their motives are in regard to that. Colonel Davis, thank you very much.